Welcome everyone to the 2022 IEEE Computer Society Presidential Election Town Hall. Today, we will be hearing from Jyotika, Athavale, and David Ebert, the two candidates running for president-elect in 2023 and president in 2024. I'm Pierre Bourque, chair of the Elections Committee and a former Board of Governors member. The town hall will have the following format. We'll start with opening statements. The order was determined by a coin flip, and Jyotika will go first. Each candidate will have 5 minutes. The candidates will have 1 minute to respond to what the other candidate said. We will then begin the town hall. Each candidate will be asked the same questions and will alternate who goes first in answering. David will respond first. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for each candidate will have 2 minutes for a response. In our town hall email campaigns, we ask Computer Society members to submit questions, and we received a lot of good questions. We won't be able to get to all of them, but we will ask as many as we can. We do want this to be an interactive format, so if you think of a question, please use the chat button in the Zoom toolbar to submit it. We'll do our best to include as many questions as possible from the audience and attendance. The election committee provided the candidates 2 questions in advance and will ask those first today. The next few questions were selected by election committee from those submitted online. After the final question, each candidate will give a closing statement. Since we started with Jyotika, David will go first this time around. Each candidate will have 3 minutes for their closing remarks and 1 minute for any additional comments. Lastly, before we get started, please remember to use the chat tool to submit any questions you have. Also, switching to speaker view will give you the best experience. If you have technical issues, please also contact the Zoom host via the chat and we will try to assist. Please note that the town hall is being recorded and will be posted on computer.org next week. And with that, let's get started with Jyotika. Please, your opening statement.
Thanks, Pierre. I appreciate it. And welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm very honored and pleased to be here and to have this opportunity to have a discussion with our membership of the Computer Society. So thanks again for joining and for participating in this town hall. We'll move on to the next slide. So I just wanted to start with a little bit of an introduction to myself. I'm Jyotika Athavale, currently serving as secretary and distinguished visitor of the Computer Society. I'm also an elected member of the Board of Governors and Executive Committee. As far as my background goes, worked in the semiconductor industry for about 2.5 decades in companies such as Synopsys, where I started my career and then spent the bulk of my career at Intel, where I worked for 20 years. And now I am currently employed at NVIDIA. And so my background has been in various roles, ranging from software engineering to reliability engineering and architecture, functional safety architecture. And currently I work in the role of a senior functional safety technologist focused on pathfinding and research activities, as well as standardization, where I play an active role currently in the Computer Society, chairing one of the standards, which is the IEEE P2851. It is the standard on functional safety interoperability. What I do outside of work for fun, I like to run. So you see a picture there. I'm training for a marathon currently. I'm also a mother of 3 children. So you see them picture there of my 3 kids. 2 of them are already in college, also pursuing computer science majors. My youngest is a rising high schooler, rising freshman in high school. So just staying busy as a mom while trying to balance all of these fun activities with work. So we'll move on to the next slide. So what do I do with IEEE Computer Society? Several activities where I enjoy spending my time as a volunteer. Standardization is one of the key areas of my focus, besides the IEEE V2851. I'm also a member in various committees, including the Functional Safety Standards Committee, the Design Automation Standards Committee. I'm a member of the IEEE P1228 standard on software safety. Some of our special technical communities and industry connection groups as well. I also participate in various conferences, volunteering my time on the technical committees, as well as providing tutorials, talks, and publications. So actively involved in various conferences sponsored by the IEEE Computer Society. I've served on various committees and boards. Last year on the Diversity and Inclusion Committee, the Audit Committee, and this year I'm participating in the USA Policy Committee. Besides our committees and Board of Governors, the XCOM and PlanCom. I'm also currently representing the Computer Society on the Systems Council, the Industry Engagement, and the Women in Engineering Committee. I serve in various roles across chapters and regions of the Computer Society, volunteer my time there. I'm most passionate in doing that because it gives me an opportunity to work closely with our members, with all of you, and that is one of the most fulfilling and rewarding aspects of my volunteer work. So we'll move on to the next page. So a little bit about, why I am pursuing this and why I want to work with you guys more closely in this role. So what we're seeing with respect to the Computer Society landscape today, a connected world. So, as I mentioned in my position statement, the world is at a brink of an extraordinary technological revolution. And, with the role of computing being foundational to a lot of these emerging technologies, the IEEE Computer Society is very strategically positioned to lead this new compute continuum and to nurture and grow these emerging technologies. And the reason for that is it is really a platform that gives us the opportunity to work together, to network, and to drive innovation at the intersection of these technologies. So, this innovation that's happening within the various disciplines in the industry, in academia, the Computer Society is a platform where we bring it all together, and we are providing that opportunity for us to work together, to collaborate and drive innovation, especially given the multiple crises that we are faced with today, including the pandemic, the economic downturn, the war, etc. Addressing those challenges and opportunities to make a difference there. We're also
I will ask you to wrap up, Jyotika. Your time is coming up to the time. Please wrap up.
Sure, sounds good. Thanks, Pierre. We're seeing declining membership, so addressing that, as well as evolving business models with open access and publications, etc., and the need to address that. So here's my last slide here. What are my goals for the Computer Society? Working as a bridge across the industry, academia, and government organizations, nurturing and growing emerging technology initiatives, including standards driving incubation technologies with standardization efforts, publications, workshops, and conferences, and most of all, empowering our volunteer base, really developing our volunteers and growing them into leaders and to drive their development. So I'm looking forward to working together with all of you to achieve these goals, and thank you again for being here.
Thank you, Jyotika. David, you have 1 minute to respond to her opening statement.
I don't have a response. I can just go ahead and do my opening statement when we're ready.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Well, let me be the last person to give my welcome to you today, and thank you for joining us and hearing a little bit about my background and my ideas of how we can grow the Computer Society. Next slide. I've been a volunteer and member of the Computer Society for over 20 years and have extensive experience in publications, conferences, and leadership. I started out volunteering for conferences in my field and then have now had experience going up to being chair of IEEE Viz 2022. And I'm currently the Vice President of Publications for the Computer Society. I have also been previously a Vice President and Treasurer of the Computer Society and have various other affiliations with IEEE because of those that you can find in detail on my page linked off of the election page. I'm a researcher in visual analytics, computer graphics, visualization, and I have been doing work in human-guided AI, predictive analytics, and solving real-world problems. I've been very fortunate through my time in my career in leading a number of transdisciplinary convergent teams to deploy innovative technology-driven solutions across many domains, because we are a techno-social society now. So everything that we do within our society is driven and impacted by computing. If we can go to the next slide. I think that the reason that we need to grow the Computer Society is because we are in a very good shape for the Computer Society currently, but we can be even better. I'm running to serve and engage our members. I want to engage and empower our members to be change leaders. We have enormous creativity and potential of our members, and we need to harness this to create products and services for our members. We need to connect and provide opportunity resources to our members through innovative and integrated offerings and partnerships to combine what we do in our different traditional areas into tailored solutions for our members, to create a mentorship program to link young professionals with more senior professionals so they can have a mentor outside of their current place of employment, to create collaboration networks to strengthen the tie between industry and academia, because the union of those two is what produces the products that are integral to our society. We need to create innovative cross-product offerings where we really bridge and merge all of our traditional offerings. And throughout all of this, what has to be in our DNA is to increase the availability, diversity, equity, and inclusivity of our events, products, and services for our entire community. We need to enable all of our conferences to be hybrid, building upon the increase in diversity we achieved when all our conferences were virtual. And we need to have more diverse editorial boards, committees, and society boards. A great example of this is the leadership of Lorena Barba. And she is the editor-in-chief of Size magazine. She has a very diverse editorial board, and she even has over 50% of the editorial board being female. We need to use the best examples across all of these boards where we have a diverse board and provide guidance and motivation for the rest of our leaders of these boards to make that an important aspect of what they do. Thank you very much.
Jyotika, do you have any comments or response to David Ebert's opening statement?
Yeah, I think David brought up some good points, and I do agree. And I think we are together on this with respect to focusing our efforts on empowering our volunteers and driving that collaboration across various platforms. So I fully agree and support the statements made here.
Thank you to both of you. And now let's move on to the question period. So can we see the first question? So I will read it. In the past 2 years, it's a little bit long. In the past 2 years, the world has changed significantly. Although the use of video conferencing tools has increased significantly in light of travel restrictions, higher efficiency, and environmental concerns, professionals also wish to meet and interact in person with their peers. How do you envision the IEEE Computer Society's products evolving in this context? And can these changes be financially viable? Please provide some concrete examples, and we will begin by allotting 2 minutes for David to respond.
Thank you. So yes, I believe we can do this in a financially sustainable model. And I have been treasurer of the Computer Society before. We're in good shape right now financially, and we can use this to create and develop the financial models that will make these sustainable. We need to leverage innovation of our volunteers and our staff and utilize our resources to create new integrated offerings. For instance, we need to enable interaction through partnerships between hybrid conferences and our other products such as publications. When I was EIC of TVCG, we formed a partnership with the IEEE Viz conference to have conference papers become part of the journal. Since then, the IEEE Viz conference now allows authors who publish in TVCG to go ahead and publish at Viz, to publish at other conferences such as IEEE VR and even ACM SIGGRAPH. We need to create affordable, effective tools for our hybrid conferences and ensure that they're all hybrid. I'm very committed to this to increase the diversity. In IEEE Viz 2022, we have a sustainable model because we're combining a small number of commercial tools with volunteer developed tools. And we need to get these volunteer developed tools out to our other conferences. We need to create best practices for our hybrid conferences with satellite locations, engaging our chapters and allowing the face-to-face interaction at a small scale around the world. And we also need to expand the initial tools that the Computer Society has started creating, such as RD Mobile. Thank you.
Thank you. Jyotika, what is your response to this long question?
All right, great. Thanks, Pierre. So my response, I think the Computer Society has already addressed this issue with respect to models to address conferences virtually, as well as the hybrid model, which allows flexibility, safety, as well as freeing up travel-related costs, kind of combining the in-person experience with the virtual model, flexibility in terms of spreading events over multiple days and allowing more flexibility, more attendance, more participants to join. With respect to improving the in-person experience, which I think was the key question there, I think future technological innovations related to virtual reality and metaverse will definitely help us to enhance those experiences and replace in-person by using those technologies. Of course, there's costs related to those products, and so the Computer Society would be able to explore sponsorships and funding opportunities with additional private as well as government sources to enable those product offerings. But also, I think, to improve this in-person experience, because often, we have the virtual platform, we have this, the presentations via live stream, etc. But we don't have the opportunity to network and discuss the technical content that is being delivered at the conference. And so if we maybe combine those conferences, we have a large number of conferences that we deliver per year, about 200 or so. But if we combine some of those that are synergistic or have similar themes, then we may be able to reduce the number of events per year and be able to maximize the benefit of in-person interactions, since there would be fewer number of conferences to attend. It would also minimize the travel overhead and improve efficiency. I know one of the concerns with respect to the participation via live stream is that it's very hard to have all of the geos synchronized and find a time where everyone can participate and leverage the chat and other features for that interaction. So I think optimizing this by reducing the number of conference events would help to address that and maximize our benefit of in-person.
Thank you, Jyotika. I would like to remind the participants that this is a town hall meeting, so they may, and please do submit questions on the chat I have this chat in front of me, and I will be asking some of these questions to our esteemed candidates today. So let's, thank you. Let's move on to the next question, number 2. So the IEEE states that its mission is to foster technological innovation and excellence for the benefit of humanity. With many worldwide crises currently overlapping, how can the IEEE Computer Society contribute in this regard? Please provide some concrete examples, and we will begin with Jyotika.
Thanks, Pierre. All right, so it's a great question. We are faced with many worldwide crises today, including the pandemic, the war, the economic downturn, embarking on what could be a recessionary period here. I think the role of the Computer Society from that standpoint is very important and very strategic to be able to influence and support the growth of our emerging technologies during this time, to support that industrial growth as well as the scale to enable ubiquitous computing or democratization of these technologies, to make them accessible to everyone. So I think that's one of the key aspects. I see that as a key mission of the Computer Society, to foster and grow these emerging technologies at this critical time. Open access of publications is one step in this direction already, where we are aiding in that democratization of the skills development, making publications available to a wider set of people and at no cost. Supporting research initiatives for technological innovation is another effort to drive innovation, and especially in that intersection of the technologies, as we mentioned, because we are unique from that standpoint. We kind of stitch together all of the various technologies that are being driven by various independent industries, and we kind of provide that platform to innovate at the intersections. Also reducing the membership burden at this economic hardship time by maybe providing discounts or other ways of funding for students and young professionals, providing them with the skills and training and certifications or mentoring that they would need to enable them to secure jobs and develop their careers is another one that I think would help. So those were some of my thoughts on how to address this.
Thank you.
Thanks, Peter.
David?
Yes, well, first let me just mention that the Computer Society does already offer discounts to members based on the economic output of each country, so that members around the world can participate. I think we can solve these by innovating, partnering, disseminating, and coordinating our activities. For instance, we can create and expand the opportunities to disseminate research more broadly in relevant targeted areas. While it will take the IEEE a few years to find its solution to open access, they have currently made all the publications related to the pandemic open access. And this year, we're currently working on making climate change publications open access to address this. We need to promote, encourage, and fund special sessions at conferences and special issues of publications on these topics. And to make it easy for our members to do this, we need to create the material so they can quickly and nimbly respond and create these opportunities. We need to create new targeted forums of these topics through working with our members and communities, because they're the ones with the insights and knowledge. We need to leverage our chapters, TCs and STCs. And we need to go beyond our society and do partnerships with other organizations so that we can connect our greatest asset, our members, with the practitioners and researchers in these other disciplines for the targeted problems and crises that we face. For instance, these are just some examples of things that I've been involved with, is working with American Meteorological Society on weather-related and climate change issues, partnering with ISDS on public health and syndromic surveillance issues, ISCRAM for disaster response, CRACC on sustainability of agriculture. these are the type of things we can do. Thank you.
David, just for the benefit of everybody, can you tell us what TCs and STCs mean?
Yes, TCs are technical committees and the STCs are special technical committees on new topics.
Thank you.
Emerging fields.
Thank you. Can we move on to the next question, please? So this time we will begin with, let's see, I'll make sure I got this right. We begin with David. So David, how would you like to make student and young professionals engagement more inclusive?
I think by making sure that we promote and grow our student chapters, and that we, as I mentioned earlier, I would like to see us actually create a mentorship network. We have a lot of partnership and opportunity software so that we can connect people. And if we do this appropriately, we can start creating these mentors. For instance, we have a program at the IEEE Viz conference called Viz Buddies, where younger members can go out to lunch, have breakfast with a more senior member. And this is a way that we're able to do it. And by having this hybrid model, as we do it in virtual conferences, we can make sure that we get people across the world in geographic diversity and people who aren't able to travel because of economic or other family commitments. And this is one of the ways that we can make it more inclusive for our members and make sure that we create that support and have have our committees really focus on providing support for these. We've already started support for women in computing, and this is something that we've partnered with other agencies, but we need to do it across all of the diversity of our members. Thank you.
Thank you. Jyotika, how do you respond to this question?
Sure, thanks, Pierre. So I think this is a very important question, also one that is very dear to me. I am really passionate about driving this diversity and inclusion in our membership. And I think this is a problem that we need to address and drive grounds up versus, tops down. We really need to empower our members, grow them and develop them, take proactive measures to make them leaders, to develop their skills. Also, as David said, mentoring is a very important aspect to that, but, training programs and education to really develop them and make them ready for their careers. Provide them with the training that they need such that they can be, lifetime members and leaders of the society and, make valuable contributions. So I would like to see us develop special recognition, maybe awards for innovation and initiatives that are driven out of these members, the students and young professionals who are very active, energetic, and are able to drive a lot of the key activities within the society. So I think that being inclusive, meaning hearing everyone, making sure that we are driving that equity, we are maybe driving a rotation program such that we can offer our members new roles and exposure to various activities within the society as well. Thank you.
Thank you. So I will go now with some of the questions coming in on the chat. So and I think this is a nice lead-on question, and I will ask Jyotika to respond first to the following question, which is, as I get a nice lead-on question to the previous one. So Jyotika, in your opening statement, you mentioned that the Computer Society membership is declining. Why is that, in your opinion, and what do you intend to do to stop that decline and have it increase, I guess?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that's part of the landscape we are seeing, is that declining membership. And I think that we really need to understand what is the value proposition to our members, to understand their needs and how we can provide services to meet those needs? What can the Computer Society do to cater to the needs and develop, develop our members? So understanding that, or giving them a chance to communicate and let us know, inviting them to make known to us, what is it that they are looking for? How can we help them grow their skills? How can we help them with their training? How can we help provide them with certification programs? How can we help provide the mentoring that they need, the development, as well as, how do we reward their activities with recognition? Also, what is it that we can do that's different maybe from other competing societies, maybe like ACM and others? What is our branding as a computer society, and what is it that we can do to help grow our members and develop them? So that should be our mission.
Thank you, Jyotika. So David, what is your opinion, or why do you believe this computer society is declining, perhaps, and how to stop this decline, and I guess have it in fact increase?
Yes, well, the Computer Society membership has actually decreased very little over the years compared to IEEE as a whole, and society membership has decreased across all professional societies, except ones that require certification, over the past 10 to 15 years. So while we have seen this trend, it is relatively minor, and it's an important issue that we need to address and grow, but I think it's manageable. And I think it really relies on us creating tailored products for our members. We have a lot of members who sign up as students, and maybe they continue on for a year or two as young professionals, but they aren't getting the value that they see to continue to be lifelong members. And that's where I think we really need to grow our membership. We need to make sure that we have the services. We're providing new professional networks and connections. We're providing them with the tools they need to do their job. And we are giving them some of this now. And some of the activity that we're doing isn't well publicized, and all our members don't know about all our offerings. So we really need to have good member profiles and tailor what we do to them and innovate what we do for the gaps that they help us find. For instance, Software Engineering Magazine created podcasts. There are thousands of downloads of each of the podcasts for Software Engineering Magazine. This is a way to attract more people to provide something that makes the content available. And these are the innovative type of products that can get more people engaged and provide a better network. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to go on to another question, and from the attendees, and I will ask David to begin. And I believe one of our attendees thought you were being too nice to each other and too friendly to each other, because one of you did not respond to the other opening statement, and the other one, it was somewhat in agreement with the opening statement of the other candidate. So the question is the following: where do your positions differ? And I will give you more than 2 minutes on this one.
Well, I think we both have experience with the Computer Society's current state and the priority of growing our products and services for our members. I would say that I have some specific ideas on new products that we can offer and how to make sure that what we're doing is financially stable, that I'm not sure if Jyotika is thinking along similar lines. But to me, our publications, for instance, need to become more than just publications. We need to have digital products for our members. We've just started looking at incorporating curated data sets, creating data repositories, creating seminal benchmark data sets that are available to all our members and that have the IEEE brand behind them. We're adding conference videos, we're adding pre-recorded conference sessions as examples of things for our members. And I'm not sure of Jyotika's view on this, but I think we should make a pledge to have all of our conferences be hybrid. the Computer Society can afford it now, and we can determine the ways to make it sustainable for all our conferences. Being chair of IEEE Viz 2022, I know the enormous expense it is to do a hybrid conference compared to a virtual conference, and what commercial vendors charge. We're lucky that we can make it sustainable this year by having a huge tech stack created by our volunteers in the previous years. And this is something that I think we need to get out to all our members, working with our IEEE staff to get these tools in good shape and the learning material out there. So these are just a few of the areas that I would really like to focus on and make sure that we're creating good products for all our members. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Jyotika, would you perhaps better distinguish your positions and intentions from David's electoral platform?
Yes, sure. Thanks, Pierre. And I agree with David. I mean, there is some synergy in the general theme of our position statement and what we'd like to do. Of course, serving together on the executive committee together with David. I think we've been exposed and had discussions along the same lines. But I think, you know, besides providing the products, and as we talked about, you know, how do we make better the in-person experience aspect of our conferences, where currently I think with a hybrid model and with the virtual aspect, we are lacking from that standpoint of having that networking and collaboration, which is really important for us to innovate and to have those in-person discussions. So I think my position statement focuses a little bit more around driving innovation in terms of technological advancements, you know, looking at the intersection of the technology, seeing how we can make available technologies like virtual reality, metaverse kind of innovations. Also looking at, you know, driving more the collaboration, given my strong experience in the industry, to see how we can have more participation from the industry, working together with academia and the government to partner and, you know, use the Computing Society as that bridge to together collaborate on these innovations. You know, I'm looking at primarily the interdisciplinary areas, so the intersection of the various technologies, because, you know, working as a society, we are bridging together all of those industries, bringing them together, working together to collaborate and have those discussions. So I think collaboration is kind of the key of, or the base theme of my position statement, while also driving via standardization, which is one of the key areas in my involvement in IEEE Computer Society, is, you know, really nurturing those nascent and incubation technologies and driving more standardization efforts such that, you know, drawing in the industry to participate via those standardization initiatives, it will be key, and that's one of the key value proposition that the industry also sees to be part of the Computer Society. And finally, you know, empowering the volunteer base, as we said. I think they are the assets that we have in the Computer Society is our volunteers and members, and really developing them and making them leaders. I think that is what I am passionate about and strive to do.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So we will go with another question from the attendees, and we begin with Jyotika, so you can come back, turn your camera back on. So the question is the following: how do you see the role of the IEEE Computer Society in this ever-growing artificial intelligence, machine learning related research field? And I will give you 2 minutes to respond.
I think it's a great question. I think that definitely we are seeing, you know, as I mentioned, the emerging technologies growing, artificial intelligence being the backbone of those technologies, a lot of advancements in every different field. So, you know, we are seeing the role of computing changing and touching every kind of application possible, and AI being the key backbone, AI and machine learning. I think the Computer Society is very instrumental in fostering that technology, as I mentioned, driving standardization efforts related to AI and all of the applications of AI in the industry. I think that we do that via education, via our webinars and conferences, our technical talks. As a distinguished speaker myself, I'm personally also involved in a lot of those activities, driving education and training to our community. And of course, via our chapters and via our other the platform that we have, certification as well, we can provide training and certification and skills development in this area as well to our members. So I think that while we are driving advancements in AI, leverage or harness that to make innovations and support those innovations, utilize those products with Computer Society, but also use that to drive that education and educate the community, and democratize that technology such that everyone has access to it.
Thank you. David, would you respond to this question?
Yes, and I almost forgot to unmute it. It's bound to happen one time during every Zoom meeting. So I agree that we play an important role. We already have some of the leading conferences and publications within AI. TPAMI, for instance, is now going to next year have 1,000 pages per month and be published monthly. So 12,000 pages of articles that are mainly related to machine learning and AI. It has an impact.
Perhaps, David, you can tell us what TPAMI is.
Oh, sorry. Transactions on Pattern Analysis and Machine Intelligence. Over the years, a large portion of the growth of it has been due to the growth of AI and ML, and it's one of the top places to publish besides NIPS and other conferences. And we also have the CVPR conference, which again is looking at somewhat more the autonomous vehicle, computer vision side. It is one of our largest conferences that we're engaged with, and it's a leading conference. So I think we are leading in this area. We need to go ahead and provide tools to our members and grow the body of knowledge. For instance, if we look at our software engineering body of knowledge, how do we handle machine learning? How do we handle AI that's going in and updating code based on parameters when it's deployed in aircraft and other things, as people are now exploring? How do we come up with the standards for that? How do we come up with best practices? These are all things that the Computer Society can do, and make sure that as new applications of AI and science-based AI and human-guided AI become more prevalent, we provide initially symposia or workshops, growing them to full conferences, making sure that we have articles in all of our magazines and we have articles in our transactions and make them available. So I think we play a role in helping disseminate the information. One of the things that's always important to remember is all of the technological innovation occurs from our members and our computing community. It doesn't occur from the Computer Society, but we need to enable and support and disseminate it. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Please stay camera open. And we have I would say, a very interesting question from the attendees, and that I think they're looking for a specific answer. So question is the following: what are the activities or products with which IEEE Computer Society currently offers that need to be retired or significantly modified? That is, what do we need to start, stop, and change? But I think I would like you to focus on the stop and change.
So that's a really good question. And this is something that we've actually looked at when I was previously the Vice President of Publications of the Computer Society, and I restarted it again this year, is to look at our portfolio and see what is the health of each of our publications. From doing this 3 years ago, we actually decided that we a number of the publications that we were sponsoring weren't serving our membership, and we withdrew our sponsorship of them. Some of them were co-sponsored publications and they're continued, but IEEE Publications has finally, over the past 4 years, started sunsetting publications that are no longer relevant. We need to make sure that our publications are growing in their topics, and we need to decide, should we create new products related to that? We now have a proposal for a transaction on privacy that has grown out of our community. And this is something that's an area that is a new product that is very timely. It isn't currently served. The whole community isn't served by the publications that we have. The community feels they're fractured across multiple publications, and creating this focus area will help support them. We really need to look at all of our TCs and STCs and do a vitality evaluation of all of them as well, and decide when our STC should get full TC support, because those are the growing topic areas. So I think that there are some things that the changes that are needed are in like the mode of operation and how we present them to people and making them more accessible than necessarily the topics, because we cover all of the computing field. We moved many years ago away from physical copy publications to having most of our publications be digital. And next year, one of the last journals that allows you to subscribe in print, we're getting rid of to become economically sustainable and environmentally sustainable, because it's expensive to do and it's not worth the printing and paper for the amount of people who read it. So we need to make sure that we come up with those ways of getting the material to our member. Podcasts are another thing that I'd really like to see more of our magazines do. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Well, I will ask Jyotika to respond to this question. Specifically, what products need to be retired or significantly modified?
Thanks, Pierre. Yeah, and I think this is a great question as well. I think as a computer society, our role is to continuously evolve and adapt with the changes that we are seeing in the world. And, as I mentioned in my position statement as well, we are at this unique situation right now where, there's an explosion of technologies, and we're at the brink of this extraordinary technological revolution. And so how do we make these technologies available to enable the community, especially given the crises that we are currently experiencing? And of course, publications is one way, as David mentioned as well, and that as we discussed, with the open access, making the technical content available ubiquitously to everyone. We talked about conferences where we can innovate with products to maximize the experience of in-person while providing the flexibility and safety from a virtual mode of dissemination. But then what we didn't really elaborate as much on was on the standardization aspect. And I really want to say that we want to evolve and really look at our structure and the way we are organized with the computer society, and make sure we modify that to align with this emergence of new technologies, and see how best we can focus on supporting and fostering and nurturing these technologies and grow them with our standardization initiatives. Grow especially those nascent technologies, the incubation technologies, and develop them and foster that innovation, especially from a interdisciplinary standpoint. So we have our special technical communities today. We have our different various committees, but we should take a look at those and see whether they're really aligned or focused on growing the new technologies, the emerging technologies, and make the necessary adjustments and changes to drive innovation in those areas as needed.
Thank you.
Thanks,
we will move on to your closing statements now. And so the closing statement will begin with David. 3 minutes, David.
Okay. Can I have my next slide? So as you can see from this picture, I'm not one to follow the crowd. I do believe in collaboration, and I've spent all my life collaborating with people. All of my projects have many researchers, have companies, have stakeholder organizations engaged, and I like to build and lead large teams. In this picture, it's actually a picture of my leading a strategic planning session for the Board of Governors a few years ago, where we were looking at product offerings, where we want to go and how we want to revise things. And this is something we should continually do, is how should we innovate and bring in new ideas? And that's where we need to integrate our membership. And we really need to have them be a core part and get them more engaged. We've grown representation of different activities on our Board of Governors, so we get more diverse opinions, and we need to continue doing this. I look forward to helping grow the Computer Society service and impact, but I need all of you who are attending to get engaged and become part of our team to make us succeed. As I mentioned before, my view is the Computer Society is about and for our members to enable them, to help lead them, and to help them be successful in their activities. I want to thank you for your time and opportunity to discuss directions for Computer Society success, and I would be honored to work with you. If you would like to see a recap of what we've talked about today and more details on my views and ideas, please see my website that's linked off of the election webpage. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And we have 1 minute to respond, Jyotika.
Thanks, Pierre. I can use the minute to make comments during my wrap up here.
Go ahead.
So can we go to the next slide? Thank you.
Actually, David was allotted 3 minutes to give his comments, so I will allow you 3 minutes for your comments if you don't have any response.
Great, thanks, Pierre. Appreciate that. You know, my closing statement here reiterates what we talked about in the position statement, talked about how the Computer Society can play a role given all of the global challenges that we are faced with, and how we can you know, serve as that glue or that stitching together of all of the various bodies in the industry, the academia and government to advance these technological innovations. We talked about what we can do to empower and grow our members, connect with our partners, and mother our emerging technologies. But, you know, as I mentioned in my position statement, you know, my thoughts, what I really would like to hear is the view of our members. I really believe that the Computer Society needs to grow ground up. And so it's not about, you know, what I want to see, but it's about hearing you, the members, and, you know, your views and your ideas, and empowering you to lead and, you know, from the bottom up. So I welcome your inputs, your ideas, and, you know, please reach out to me and let me know how we can, you know, serve you better. And regardless of, you know, the election, I just wanted to also seek this opportunity to make that better connection with our members, and to give you an opportunity to be heard. So I just wanted to reach out and say thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your questions. And thanks for participating in this town hall. And I hope that you will bring forth your thoughts and ideas and reach out to us and see and let us know how we can serve you better, how we can make the Computer Society a better society for the community and for you know, the computing as a whole. So, so please do vote in the election, make a difference, and I look forward to working together with you. So thanks again.
David, 1 minute.
Well, I will just agree with Jyotika that this is a great opportunity to engage with our members and get their input. And actually, you know, going through this made me think, although it's always trouble with the time differences and making sure that everyone around the world can participate, having more town halls with the Board of Governors would be something to really get feedback from our community. Something that conferences do with their conference committee, but we should be doing as the Board of Governors as well. So thank you. And I agree. We want all of you to exercise your right to vote and contribute to the future of the Computer Society.
Thank you, Jyotika and David, for spirited debate, and thank you to both of you for joining us today and sharing your visions for the future of the IEEE Computer Society. Again, as a reminder to everyone, the town hall was recorded and will be posted on computer.org in the next few days. Please remember to vote. Yes, I repeat, please remember to vote. Computer Society elections opens on Monday, August 8th and end on Monday, September 12th at noon. So I want to just thank everyone in attendance today. I hope you got a lot of great insight on the two candidates, and we hope this will help you in your decision-making process when elections open on Monday, August 8th. So once again, thank you very much. Thank you to both candidates, and thank you for all who participated and for all the excellent questions that you submitted. Good day.